Marvel's Phase 1 and 2. A very formulaic series up until that point, with a few breaks like what Avengers of Ultron and probably Guardians of the Galaxy. And although I love the MCU up until this point, I gotta admit, I think that this phase was lacked. At least Phase 2 really lacked, especially compared to Phase 3. And I would even say Phase 4. Like, Phase 4 was much better than Phase 2. Maybe a little better than Phase 1, but not quite the Infinity Saga. And one of the characters that throughout these last 3 phases, now technically because Phase 4 is over, that the people have loved more than any other character is Scott Lang's Ant-Man. This character is like loved by everyone in the MCU after Civil War, and then after Endgame, it's loved by all general audiences too. I'll admit, even I don't know who Ant-Man was. I wasn't a huge Marvel fan until I would say a few months before Endgame's release. I really became a big Marvel fan, started theorizing and stuff. I didn't even watch Ant-Man until 2017. And I actually haven't seen it since, and yeah, just like... But one thing that crazes my mind is that the movie often falls under people's radars. Like, you hear no one talking about this movie. I like to look up video essays before I make these videos and kind of gain ideas for what I'm going to say. I don't copy it word for word. I don't even copy it at all. All I really do is, like, take it and I kind of get my own ideas. And then I kind of say what I want to say in my video. But I'm pretty sure I only found 2 video essays that worked for Ant-Man. And they weren't made by the big people either. They were made by smaller channels, kind of like mine. By the way, way bigger though. Like, I'm Ant-Man and they're like big Ant-Man. So, yeah. But yeah, so that really inspired me to cover this movie. I was really, really busy. So I decided to kind of cover this video a little differently. But yeah, let's talk about why Ant-Man just mastered the little things. The movie premiered in 2015. It began development back in 2006 and was in development hell for upwards of, I would say about 10 years. Paul Rudd was casted in 2010, and they did test footage in 2013. Or 2012, so that's how it goes. But the movie premiered in May 2015 and was praised for everything. It was praised for its story, its main hero, its comedy, its CGI, its side characters, and just the comedy and the funness of the movie in general. And I'll admit, I had a ton of fun with this movie, and I think that's where this movie kind of lies. It's important for a movie to not just be critically good. Like, for example, I love to take old movies and really compare them to newer movies. So I do this every single video I've been noticing recently. But let's take Black Adam. Black Adam and Black Panther are the big examples. The only reason is because I just saw those movies, so they're still really fresh on my mind. But of course, I meant when Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium comes out, I'll be comparing movies to that movie. Comparing it to let's compare it to the Avengers, because I just reviewed that. The Avengers takes itself a little too seriously and still tries to be funny. And I kind of appreciate how this movie doesn't do that. The Avengers sacrifices overall, the Avengers critically is okay. Enjoyability though for the Avengers, at least for me, I did not enjoy that movie. This movie is very solid critically. It's not terrible at all. But it's also just like, it's very good for enjoyability. Like, the movie knows how to have fun without writing stupid dialogue or cutting the story in half like Love and Thunder did. But, like, it's still crazy to me that they were able to get away with, like, just... No, the movie flies so far under the radar, it's crazy. Of course, though, this isn't the only thing about the movie. It does have some... The story is very, very decent, I think. The way all the characters interconnect and really give their all to this role is amazing. I also really, really, in terms of the story, liked the heist aspect. Although I kind of wish the action started a little early. It takes up to the final hour of the movie to start the action. I get it. They had to spend 30, 45 minutes setting up Scott Lang, but you could have had a little bit of action in there, maybe a fight scene. There was only 2 fight scenes in this movie, and one of them barely counts. So, it's kind of sad when you have one major fight scene in the movie. If it weren't for the comedy, this movie would be extremely boring, I think, is why it flies under the radar. A lot of people don't like comedy movies. And yeah, but this movie flies generally really under the radar in terms of Marvel fans. Like, you never see a Marvel fan talking about this movie. Let's go in depth on the story and really find out why it's so good. The story of Ant-Man is as follows. After retiring from Ant-Man for the past 30 years, Hank Pym has to enlist the help of Scott Lang and Hope Diane in order to stop the threat of his former protege from selling his stuff to Hydra and earning billions of dollars before the world can be destroyed. Together, they team up along with a group of friends of Scott, and they all commit a heist on the, Pym-Tech, in order to stop him. Then Ant-Man and the bad guy, I completely forgot his name, throw hands in order to get the Pym particles, with Ant-Man winning in the end, seeing his daughter, and growing into a character that's a hero. But, Ant-Man, I honestly thought the story is very, very solid. It's extremely solid, just from looking at it all around. I liked how he interconnected it by just having him fight Falcon. Also taking a look at how this movie really goes. I love the way the characters kind of interconnect each other to create a very decent and very well-rounded story compared to the other movies in the MCU. The characters really carry the story in this instance, and it's kind of shocking that people don't talk about this movie. But I do have some negatives, though. For one, the villain is awful. We'll talk about his character later, but for now, his motivation. What's his motivation, everyone? Get revenge. Money, good. Power, good. What I did like is what they said in the movie. Pretty sure they said, what's the most powerful man? No. It was, a man sells the most powerful weapon in the world to a government. What is he? He's the most powerful man in the world. And I just like that saying. I thought it tied into the story pretty well. But besides that, the character just seems extremely generic and just stupid. He's just there to be a plot device, which I don't mind. This movie doesn't really need a villain. He just needs something small, not big, small to fight, and call it a day. That's why Ghost didn't work in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think that a different villain would have worked much better. Because was intangible. It's not a good threat for Ant-Man to fight. It would have been cool if Ant-Man could fight a different threat. But I think that it was smart to make him fight Yellow Jacket in his first entry. One, their nemesis in the comics, and two, it just makes sense. It makes sense to have Ant-Man fight a threat that has the ability he does to begin. Although if I were in charge, I would have done that I would have added Yellow Jacket for the sequel. I would have done the original. I would have done a different villain because it just makes more sense. It's in my head. I know it makes more sense on paper to do Yellow Jacket first, but it makes more sense for me to do a different villain, not Ghost, but a different villain first, to kind of have him face something super strong, and then he goes against his own powers in the sequel. Have him be a little more experienced, to have a little more fighting on the ground and stuff than they did in this movie. And yeah, this plot was very, very solid. I think next we'll talk about the characters next, because the characters are very, very solid. So let's talk about the characters. The characters in Ant-Man are extremely, extremely solid for Marvel characters. You got Hank Pym, old Ant-Man, who just wants to make things right with his daughter after losing his wife, and needs to stop the tech getting out before the world ends, basically. His character, I think, is very, very cool. I like how he's mastered the Ant-Man abilities. I also like how the suit is taking a toll on him. But my question is, how long did he use the suit for? It seems like it makes it sound like he used the suit for about 20 years. He's about 60, so I imagine he used the suit for probably about 10, 15 years before he took off the mask and everything. But it's still, I like to think that they have newer tech which allows Scott Lang to not take a toll on his body, but like it's crazy. I liked the as character is that he's not perfect. Most characters have one flaw or two flaws. Man, it's a few flaws. Same with Scott, and I just really liked seeing them on screen interact. Then there's Hope. Hope, I honestly don't think I should have liked. She has no flaws whatsoever. She's near perfect at everything, but I think she's just so entertaining to watch on screen. Like Captain Marvel's not interesting to watch on screen. She-Hulk's not interesting. Miss Marvel and Hope, they're entertaining to watch on screen even if their characters are not good. It's just plain writing 101. I'd rather have a critically good bad movie than an enjoyable movie than the vice versa. Like I'm a critic, but I still prefer a movie that I can enjoy better. Which is why I give Avengers Infinity War Avengers 1 such a low rating. I love Infinity War. That was a mistake in the script. But I'll talk about Scott now, and I'll talk about Lewis. I loved Lewis and the gang. They were amazing. They were so fun to watch on screen, and they were the highlight before the final fight. The final fight is the highlight of the movie, of course, but they're definitely the highlight before then. It's like to see them just like be so stupid on screen and do the stupidest things and still get out scot-free. It's honestly so entertaining to watch compared to the other characters. I love seeing Lewis and Scott interact, and I know it's kind of sad because Lewis probably won't be in Ant-Man and the Wasp for that long, or Quantumanium for that long. Maybe he'll be the one to help him get out of the Quantum Zone, but that's about it. I would love to see a Lewis. I know it's weird, and they give Disney Plus series to anything, but it's just me. I would love to watch an Ant-Man. I would love to watch a what do you call it? A Disney Plus series on Lewis. It'd be like Lewis and maybe a character that like no one knows. Lewis, like I haven't researched this thing at all. I've just been thinking about it. But if Lewis is a superhero in the comics, I don't think he is. You should just make a new superhero for Lewis and just have Lewis become a superhero. I'm so sorry. You're running low on good characters. Lewis is like the character to go for that matter. But yeah, Lewis is just extremely fun to watch. There is nothing more to it. He's more fun to watch than I would say even Scott Lang. But talking about Scott Lang now, his character is one of my favorites in the MCU. If we're talking about based on characters, not based on comics, Scott Lang might be my favorite, except for Iron Man. Of course, if we're talking in the comics, Spider-Man is probably my second favorite character in the MCU. I also like his journey throughout the movies, too. If that counts, I love his character throughout Homecoming and everything. I'm one of the people that did like his character. But I think Scott Lang is just a lot better. Scott Lang would be my second favorite. It's just like it's awesome to see Scott Lang in this movie. Like, for example, I first watched Scott Lang in this movie. Of course, I know I said I didn't watch it until 2017, but I didn't watch Civil War until 2018. So I did see this movie first. Yeah, I didn't watch Civil War until a few months before Infinity War. It went on Netflix back then, and I was like, why not? I'll watch it. Because I didn't have Disney Plus till What If was going on, like midway through What If. I still have Disney Plus nowadays, though, so I get to binge every Marvel movie when it comes out. Yeah, and if you're asking me, hey, Joshua, how did you get the Disney Plus series to watch them? I mean, that's kind of suspicious. I'm gonna be honest. I just pirated them when they came out. I'm not a fan of what I did. I mean, for me, pirating is like, if I can't watch a movie and I really want to watch it, I will pirate it. But if I had the option, I'm going to a theater instead. I just like the experience, and I want the studios to stay afloat. But if it was like an old movie, I'll pirate it, honestly. But that's not all we gotta talk about. We also have Scott Lang is just like, his character is very good. He's an ex-convict who just wants to make good with his daughter, but ends up getting sucked into a big plot to overthrow the government by giving Hydra weapons. I'm pretty sure I might just be over fixating on the Hydra part. And now he must team up with the old Ant-Man Hank Pym and his daughter Hope Diane. I'm gonna say Diane. Hope Diane. In order to stop Yellowjacket before he can sell the weapons. His story is very entertaining to watch. I love his relationship with his daughter. I think it's a way to really touch general audiences. And overall, I think that his relationship with his daughter was great. course, it's not all to his character. His relationship with Hope is great. It's awesome to see their relationship in this movie. That's all I'm gonna say about this movie. It's just entertaining to watch. There's also another character, his daughter. I think the child actor did a very good job. Of course, it wasn't a big job. Hey, honey, go love your dad. Or your fake dad. But for what it was, he actually did a great job at pretending he was Scott Lang's dad. Or Scott Lang's daughter. But they're not even related in real life, honestly. But it's still they still did an amazing job at that. I think if you were to hire a child actor, you should hire the actor's children like they did with Love and Thunder. Like, now in the next movie, they're probably going to have lots of synergy because they're related. The only problem with hiring child actors permanently is that they age too slow or they age too much. Like with the Avengers Endgame time jump, they had to outplace the kid already, and then they already recasted her in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. She's already had 3 actors, and she's only been in 2 movies or 3 movies. Hopefully they'll keep, I think it's Sin or something. Of course, they got the Young Avengers. I also want to talk about real quick. I think they should have killed off Hank Pym in this movie. No, I know, and if you're talking about the movie solely this movie, it would have been really smart to kill off Hank Pym. But if we're talking about the whole trilogy as a whole, I think it was a smart decision to keep him until Quantumania, so he can reunite with his wife. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna kill him in Quantumania simply because one, the broken Ant-Man helmet. That's a misdirect. I'm telling you, they're misdirecting. I know exactly what's gonna happen. Either one, he's gonna sacrifice himself so the other 3 can get back on the roof, or 2, he's gonna either die to Kang, he's going to sacrifice himself so that they can get back to the surface, or he's gonna die putting the Ant-Man suit on one more time. Because I'm pretty sure it leaked. I'm pretty sure he's getting his own Ant-Man suit. They were all originally supposed to go in the Quantum Zone, I'm pretty sure. And he was supposed to get his really cool Ant-Man suit with like Yellow Jacket. So I would have given him the Yellow Jacket in this movie and have him sacrifice himself or something. I don't know. Have him shrink one more time. But like, a big question for me after watching this movie is like, how did they make that Ant-Man suit in the 80s? The Ant-Man suit from the ending, the Wasp suit. Because they made the Wasp suit in the post-credit scene, in case you're wondering where that came from. They made that in the 80s. Or no, they made that in the 90s. Like very early 90s. So, it kind of confuses me, that entire part of the plot. And everything inside of it. But the humor in this movie, let's talk about the humor. The humor is great. I laughed 24/7 on this movie, even if it was 7 o'clock at night and I had to sleep. Right? And the reason this is a smaller video is simply because there is not a lot to say about this movie. I wanted to make this a longer video, I just couldn't. But, one thing I will say is the humor for this movie is amazing. I love the humor. I've been talking about the humor the entire time and how it really syncs up and it's amazing. But just the subtle things, like you have a joke, they'll say mean things without even thinking about it. It's just like the comedy in this movie is amazing. So is the action. I think the action of this movie is top notch. Not quite up to standard with the rest of the MCU, but because it's a comedy movie above an action movie instead of trying to blend the both, I think it works better than the other MCU movies in terms of blending comedy and action. The only movie I say that blends comedy and action better would be actually, no, I can't even think about it. This is like the 20th, I think Thor Ragnarok blends it a little better. But Thor Ragnarok is one of the best MCU movies, really can't compare. So I'll give this movie a pass on that. Honestly, I like this movie a lot. There's really nothing more I can say. It's like the way the humor and the action really tie together. You have talk about the final fight scene, you have Ant-Man throwing Thomas, and they're fighting on Thomas the Train. You get views from the daughter, and it looks epic on our side, but on the daughters and the other people's sides, it just looks like you have 2 action figures fighting, and I found that really funny. I also liked how And in order to get out of the quantum zone at the end of that fight, he had to use his ingenuity. He couldn't just bing bang boom out of there. He had to actually use his ingenuity. And I liked how everything they put in the movie, those discs, they actually served a purpose rather than the combat. Because they only used them like a few times. But here's my question. Why didn't they add weapons into the Ant-Man suit? The Wasp suit got stingers. So you're not going to give... I get it, but they didn't do it in the 80s. It's because of the 80s. They had like... They didn't have like energy weapons in the 80s. Iron Man's suit was invented in like 2008, I'm pretty sure is when the timeline says. But yeah, the reason this movie goes from a top 10 to a top 20 is just because there's like a lot of little holes like that. Like, what's the time jump? How old is Hope and Scott? How old is Hank? Like, what was he doing all this time? How does he own a house? Did he buy it before he left? What is Hope? How did Hope... I know this isn't to Ant-Man specifically, but how did Janet survive in the quantum zone? I'm pretty sure we'll get that answered questions. Wow, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe pretty sure we'll get that question answered in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but it's still something to say here. They tease that she's alive, and I think it's a smart idea rather than showing her in a post-credit scene. You tease her. That's definitely a smart idea to do. And it really makes me excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So this was an extremely short video. I want to make most of my videos 25 to 30 minutes long now, but this video just tapped in at just under 22 minutes. It's crazy that this video was this short, especially after I didn't make a video last week, but I have a good explanation for that. I simply was extremely busy. Something happened last week where I need my full attention 24/7. Just for that week. And of course, I started making this video like Saturday, if that counts. So I really had, I was busy. I watched Ant-Man Saturday night. So I was very, very busy. I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. When you guys are going to see this, it's like Tuesday morning for me, or Tuesday night. I don't know. I having brain farts. I'm tired. I keep saying morning when it's afternoon, or night. Oh my god. But yeah, I will have 2 videos out this week. I don't know, actually, no, I can't promise that. No, I can't. It's too late in the week to promise 2 videos. If I were to make a video, it would take till Sunday night to get out. But I will promise, there's going to be a Hawkeye video next week, next Wednesday. I'm promising that. That'll be a very long video. There's also going to be a Klaus. I don't know if you guys haven't seen that movie. Klaus. It's a tradition for me to watch it around Christmas time. I usually watch it on Christmas. But this year, just for you guys, I'll watch it a little early. I'll watch it like Thursday. Make a short 8 to 10 minute review on it. So, it'll be fun, like old times. I don't know if you guys still want... I might not do speed reviews anymore for this channel. I've been thinking about it because, you guys the speed reviews don't really get any views or anything. Instead of speed reviews, I might put out a video essay. On the movie. I'm gonna rewatch. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see Avatar: The Way of Water either Friday, or I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go see it Friday because I got something to do Saturday. So I'm gonna I'll make a video essay over the weekend on that. And then that video, a short 10 to 12 minute video essay because it's a movie that I only saw a little bit of. And that'll be out next week, but I don't know yet. It's still up in the air about what I'm doing for speed reviews and everything. Because I want to do my own thing, but I also don't want to differ too far from video essay format. I don't want to be like hip top films, or what is the other one called? The one with the quotation marks. That one's really, really good. That YouTuber, I forgot what it's called. The one who did the Black Panther video recently. The one that praised, pretty sure he praised Black Adam recently too. FilmSpeak. FilmSpeak is my favorite channel of all time. I love that channel. Go check him out. Go give him love if you're gonna already give him love. And yeah, I'm Justin from my studios, and I'll have a new intro because I did lose my intro and my outro. I lost all of them, even my old one. So there will be no intro or outro for this video. You guys probably noticed that by now. I'll have a new outro, a new intro by next week. I'm just thought I'd say that. So I actually have to get to bed now. I'm Justin from my studios, and stay electric.